Good evening, money magnets. It's so good to see you. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great day. I hope you guys also had a green day because SPY definitely had a green day. Now, if you recall from Uncle's evening video yesterday, I mentioned and I did give my opinion on what I thought was going to happen. And I mentioned that I was bullish and I did favor we head up higher. And it aged pretty well. And the reason I felt the way I felt was because SPY continued to stay above the 5 daily moving average. It back tested it as a support, found buying pressure. Now, even though I was bullish, I'm always ready in case the market changes its mind and decides to be bearish. And I wrote in my Discord this morning, 631.5 is support as long as above 633 is in play. Bears must break down both 631.5 and 630 to ignite some selling pressure. Stay unbiased. And we can see here that SPY did break down the 631.5 level and it did hit the 630 level, also giving us a close. But we have to see what happened here, guys. It dropped down level to level, broke down 630, but it recaptured it on the 10-15 candle. I wrote this in the group. 631.5 breakdown, put in 630ish in play. 630 loss, put in the lower targets in play. No calls unless 630 can recapture. And I did wrote here, if market makers want to stick with the same script for today, I was referring to yesterday, but I did write 630 must hold as support. Now that it's been recaptured, to keep 631.5 and 633 plus in play. They recaptured it right here and then they just blasted back to new all-time highs. It was incredible. It even cleared the 631.5 level, and you can see on the following candle it back tested 631.5 as support and it held and it hit 633, and holy moly donut shop, new all-time highs. And that's all she wrote. There was one move that was good for bears, but it wasn't not much more than that, and they killed the bears hopes and dream by pushing it to new all-time highs. And now we have this new candle where we can see that it's still above the 5 DMA. Do I expect SPY to continue to head up higher? Well, I have to say it is getting a bit ridiculous. We do have talks of tariffs. I think Tesla just reported earnings and push is dropping. Not to mention there was bad news on Tesla. It was a bad accident. I have to look more into it. So do I think more upside is possible? Absolutely, I do think it is possible. But I also believe that any day now, we could get a rug pull style move to the downside. So we have to be very careful. If you are still in longs, play it level to level and swing, or if you're trading for those home run moves, do it with your runners. Trade it level to level, let your runners go for the home run moves. Play it safe because we don't know when that rug pull is coming. But I still have to say more upside is definitely possible because I don't see anything on this chart that yells out bearishness to me. But we'll see what happens. As far as the plan goes, if it is to be bearish, we need to see a false breakout setup. We need to see the price action behavior change. All we've been getting are false breakdown setups that are leading to new all-time highs. We've been getting breakouts of resistance time and time again. Bears aren't getting much follow through on their breakdowns. So if there is some bearishness, I will trust it more if we get a rug pull style. I'm not trusting those micro pullbacks because the dip buyers has been buying it all. So as of right now, SPY did close at 633.12, which means it cleared the 633 level. I need to see multiple support levels fail. 633, 631.5, 630. But the 5 DMA is the moving average. I'm going to continue to stick and watch that moving average. Stick with it and watch that moving average. Because if SPY continues to bounce off that moving average, I have to say it's still bullish. So we know what it needs to do and we know what it needs to continue to do to stay bullish. We're above 633. If we clear 635 tomorrow, we're heading up a lot higher, possibly up to 637 to the 640 zone. But we also know what it would look like if it does pull back, and we have not been getting that scenario. One of the first things that I look for when I decide to switch from bullish to bearish is it above the 5 DMA or is it below the 5 DMA? And it's still above it. But if it ever gets below it, which would require a breakdown of 633, 631.5 and 630 to even attempt to try to break it down, down. Right now it's around 629.7. It could creep up to the 630 level by tomorrow. So if we break down those levels, that is when Unco would be bearish. I need to see not just the price action, but the price action's behavior reflect the bearishness, breaking down support and turning those support levels into resistance. Because when we look at the 15-minute chart, look what happened when it cleared 631.5 and then it back tested 631.5 and there was buying pressure. That's bullish price action behavior. When it broke down 630 and it back tested 630 as a resistance, they were not able to hold it down and it recaptured false breakdown setup. That is bullish price action behavior. So take this action and it needs to be flipped upside down when we break down support and turn it into resistance. When we start seeing that happen, that's when we can start talking about pullback time and correction mode. Unfortunately for the bears, that is not the case. So if we are going to be bearish tomorrow, 633, 631.5 and 630 now more than ever must fail. Rug pull style combined with some volume. But if we manage to pull back and still stay above the 5 DMA, those to me are all just micro pullbacks that are not to be taken serious. You can scalp some puts, some shorts here and there, but if we're talking about a real correction mode, multi-day move to the downside, we need to see that moving average fail. 633, 631.5 fib level and 630 is a fib level, but most likely the moving average will creep up there. And when we start closing below that level, those levels, then we can talk about, oh, it's bearish. But unfortunately right now, Unco's going to continue to lean bullish. Moving on to triple Q. Now we got something special here for triple Q. The inside candle setup. You guys know Uncle Charters loves the setup. So I look at the mother candle, which is the red candle here, and then we look at this green candle. It's within the range of the red candle. That's why it's called the inside candle setup. So the way to trade this setup is we watch for the break of the range of the mother candle, and the mother candle's high is at 564.35. I do also have a fib level at 564.8. We can round it around that area. Above it, we are bullish. Now you may notice that it's above it in the aftermarket right now. I don't take that too serious because a lot can change between now and in the pre-market. But if we do open above 564.8 and it's turning that level into support, guys, that is bullish. 566, 568 and 570 are in play. If we want to get bearish, staying below 564.8 is a must. However, breaking down 563 is needed, breaking down 561.5 is needed, and breaking down 560 is needed to send us to the bottom of the mother candle's low, which is at 558.6. Break those levels down, especially 558.6. That is when I would lean bearish for a multi-day move to the downside. Otherwise, still overall bullish. Here is Tesla, not looking bullish at the moment. Have a big drop here, but look at where it dropped. Now I made these lines on the daily chart, but I am looking at it on the 6-hour chart right now, and look at it. Coincidence? I think not, but it dropped right down to my support level of the triangle pattern. Now to fully break down this structure, Tesla needs to drop below 316.5 and 315. If that happens, then yes, breakdown mode 309.3 would be in play. That's the fib level, and below that I would be bear bias for sure. But if we are to trust this bounce, because it could bounce, if we are to trust this bounce, resisting at 319 and 320.5 must clear. If it does, we're bouncing from this support level and we're likely heading back to the top, which could send Tesla back to 343, and above 343 would be breakout mode. Trust the bounce above 320.5 and 322, and below 316.5 and 315, breakdown mode. Here is NVDA, also has its own inside candle setup. Now the mother candle's high is at 171.4. I do have a level at 171, but the mother candle's high is at 171.4 and it's trying to gap up right now. If we're above 171.4 and we clear 172.5 and 174, we are going to new all-time high. It's not quite cleared my 174 level, but if it does, new all-time high incoming. Now if we break down support 170, well, the fib level, the 5 DMA level is around 170.9, right around my 171 level. We break down that level and we break back below 169, we are bearish again on NVDA, at least down to the 164.5 level, which is the low of the mother candle. And below 164.5 should put this multi-month trend line around 161-ish in play, and below 161 is breakdown mode on NVDA. So look to short below 169, look to long above 174. Coin pulling back, continue to pull back, showed a bit of bearish follow through after breaking down the 5 DMA yesterday. As of right now, I have resistance at 400.4, rejected from that area today. So tomorrow it needs to recapture it. Reverse the selling pressure we had from that area, clearing 400.4. That should put 404 and 406 plus back in play. I think we can go back at least hit 410 area. But if we cannot get a bounce, price must stay below 400.4, break down 399 and 397.8, and then we can head down to 396, 393, 390 or lower. And last but certainly not least, here is IWM. It is in breakout mode. You guys can see I had this triangle pattern, and I mentioned we want to look to long above 225. It broke out 225. It's in breakout mode. 227 is in play, and if 227 clears tomorrow, I think we can go hit 229 and 231 area. If we want to get bearish, we would need a false breakout setup. That means breaking back below 225 and 223 for the gap fill, and below 223 I would definitely be extremely bearish in favor we drop all the way back down to the 220 and 218 area. Guys, thank you so much for being here and listening to me talk about my love for charting. I love this stuff, and I love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Peace.